You know, everybody, I've been pondering this video for quite some time, and I think a lot of us are all starting to kind of say the same thing, at least in our own inner monologue, and that is, we kind of have a lot of amp sims anymore, right? And I truly think we're at a moment in time right now here, almost into 2024, where it's like, yo, we kind of have like every single available tone for an amp sim. Now, before I continue to have this two-way conversation with you all indirectly through this camera lens and through the comment section down below, if you're a returning viewer or you're brand new to my channel and you've yet to hit that subscribe button, please consider doing so. I'd really sincerely appreciate it. Helps out the channel, and I'd love for you to join my friends and family here in my own little corner of the guitar universe here on the internet, okay? This conversation that I'm gonna have today is all in good fun, I would say, and it's not here to criticize nor bash nor critique nor, well, I guess critique in some instance, but not shed any sort of hatred or negativity or just bum anybody out. In the words of Austin Powers, that ain't my bag, baby.
I don't even know what this is. This sort of thing ain't my bag, baby.
However, as I said in the beginning of this video, I've been having this conversation up top for quite some time, and I'm like, dude, like, amp sims really just don't hit as hard upon release day as they used to, say, 5 years ago. And I think it's just because of the obvious and the fact that amp sim companies have just completely saturated the market, and like we kind of have everything that we as consumers and musicians and artists could ever want and desire from an amp sim. We've got block letters, rig builders, rectifiers, and mic stringers. You like that? I wrote that little rhyme this morning. Hell, man, we've even got virtual plugins emulating amp modelers at this point. And to make it very, very clear, I am not complaining in the slightest. I feel so grateful, and I think a lot of us do. I hope we all do. But I think a lot of us feel really, really grateful that we have all these amazing resources and just tools to create for a fraction of what they would cost in the real world. At the time of this video being released, it is the end of August 2023, and within the last give or take 2 weeks, I would say, we've had 3 amazing industry standard heavy hitter amp sims being released by 3 different companies. And honestly, it seems like nobody really cares as much as, say, 5 years ago. We got one from ML Sound Lab, we got one from Bogren Digital, and we got one from Mixwave. I think the one that hit the hardest on the market in terms of a positive response was the mic stringer from Mixwave. Back in 2018, I was brand new to the whole YouTube game and the amp sim game, but I have such a vivid memory of when, say, like the Fortin Nameless Suite hit the market. Like, everybody was buzzing about it, and everybody was just like blown away with just how amazing it really was and how it sounded, and just whenever an amp sim would come out, people were just like jumping for joy, you know what I mean? Like, it was just crazy. When an amp sim would come out, man, everybody would just lose their shit. Now, when amp sims come out, everybody's just like, another one? And that is truly unfair and such a shame to amp sims that come out here in 2023, because they are so much more advanced and jam-packed with features, and they just sound so much better than the amp sims that were essentially trailblazers to get to this point in time right now. I think I can pinpoint one single moment when the amp sim game started to kind of just reach its peak and go down in terms of like the overhypeness, and that is when the Archetype John Petrucci was released. Had the Archetype JP been released 3 years prior, people would have lost their minds, because John Petrucci is an absolute legend. Neural's DSP makes arguably the best plugins of all time. But leading up to that release, Neural DSP continued to just release virtually the same archetype with different artists' names attached to it. So by the time the Archetype John Petrucci came out, a lot of people were just like, oh, okay. So you may be sitting there, okay, Mr. XRC, if that's even your real name, what should we do next? If you're so smart and you just think you know everything, what should we get on the guitar market? Thank you for asking, I appreciate you. I really think the next move for amp sim companies and guitar gear companies, I guess we'll say, is to essentially create what the Quad Cortex promised in 2020. And that is to take a real piece of hardware, or like a tangible thing that's not on your computer, have it to where it's like essentially like a mini computer, and you can upload or download, however you want to describe it, have your amp sims on your actual player thing, and then you could take it from the comforts of your home and put it, drop down onto an actual stage in a live setting, and be able to gig with it, just like you are able to gig with it and or play with it in the comfort of your own home through your computer. Now, like I said, Neural DSP has been teasing that with the Quad Cortex, for example, for nearly half a decade, and we're still waiting for that to happen. But when that does happen, I think that will just push the envelope even further and push the boundaries of what a digital rig or modeler can do in the present day. And with that, I think the Quad Cortex would be like the ultimate perfect best case scenario for a guitar rig in 2024 and beyond. And that is to have a touchscreen unit with knobs and switches and XLR capabilities to where you can run your amp sim in real time on a stage, and you don't need to bring your laptop with you or any sort of external foot switching or any sort of gear other than the actual unit. That would be game over, and I really don't think how you could get any better than that. The only thing I could think of maybe would be to have a power amp section built on board so you can just turn off the cab lock on your hypothetical rig, you know, your hypothetical player that I'm talking about, shut that off, run it through a speaker cab, and then you have stage volume through your power amp on board. That would be the easier said than done, right? Yeah, let me just whip that up for you real quick, right? I know, I'm asking for a lot, I think, maybe not, but what I'm asking for, or what I think would be the ultimate, like, just rig, would be, like, the sickest thing of all time. And I certainly think we're a lot closer than maybe we might think. There's a whole bunch of different options out there on the market that kind of do some of that stuff, but not one rig, at least to the best of my knowledge, does all of that. I mean, we got the Tonex, that's close. We've got the Head Rush, that's close. We've got the Quad Cortex, that's really, really close. Like, there's all these different things that do some of those things that I just mentioned, but none of them do all of them. And I think that would be the ultimate game over if we could just go Tanks or Vegito, all those together and just make this one powerful thing. That would be awesome. On a little side note, like, I personally don't even really care at all about, like, the capturing stuff or, like, the cloning stuff, like that Kempers and the Quad Cortex and the Head Rush Prime are doing. Like, I really don't even care about that because I just feel like, I don't know, the plugins and, like, the modeler stuff, like, it's already good in-house, man. Like, I don't think I need to clone anything in the real world because it's already essentially cloned in the modeler. Like, I think that's cool, I guess, but, like, I don't know. That's just something that I'm not really a huge fan of personally. Maybe a huge fan of isn't the right word, but something that, like, I really don't care about. And I've seen people literally gig with their MacBooks and run their plugins on their computer on stage. I've literally seen MacBooks on stage, and, like, I've seen, like, the Archetype Gojira, like, sitting up there on top of a cab, like, in a MacBook. I thought that was kind of funny looking, but, like, although that works, I don't know how, like, durable and or safe that would be to use a computer, especially for touring, for example. Like, trying to tour with a MacBook sounds really, really dangerous, just especially playing the club scene. Like, things break, man. Like, real amps break, and they're pretty durable, you know what I mean? So, like, trying to have a MacBook going from city to city just sounds like an absolute nightmare. So to wrap up this video, everybody, I want to make this crystal clear. I love amp sims, and anytime an amp sim comes out, more often than not, I'm going to check it out because I love tones. Like, who doesn't love checking out the new thing? The whole point of this video is to kind of address the obvious and the fact that, like, we're kind of at, like, the ceiling of, like, amp sims. Like, we kind of have done it all. Not we, like, companies have done it all. You know what I mean? Like, we're already kind of there. So in order to take this whole amp sim game to the next level, I think it's time that we, the consumers, push for and the companies create modelers that run plugins seamlessly, and then we can use them, you know, rather than bringing our MacBook on stage. As I said in the beginning of this video is not to criticize nor bash, but more or less to have a conversation about, you know, the current state of the guitar market and the amp sim market, and just, you know, where it's at here towards the end of 2023. So I want to turn it over to you guys now. I've been rambling for quite some time. I want to hear what you guys have to think. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? That's cool all the same. Like I said, man, not here to start a fight or anything like that ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is all in good fun, dude. Just having a conversation. But I would love to hear what you guys think. Am I way off? Do you agree with me? Whether you do or do not, that's cool, man. I just want to hear from you guys, okay? So be sure to like this video if you found it educational, informational, and you just had a good time just hanging out with me for the day. And be sure to subscribe if you haven't done so, okay? With that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video, okay? Later.